Hi, welcome to JTV Show. My name is Jamie O'Neill. I have another JTV Raw. It's not exclusive because he's done one or two interviews. He's been very, very difficult to get hold of, but he's been in here before, so I've asked him to come back and he said yes. Jake, how you doing?
No bad, how are you?
I'm alright, man. I hosted a Rabbi Buns night. I was telling you last night on Zoom, and everybody else was drinking, so I kind of just got involved. But the funny thing is, like, you've just signed with St Andrews, and usually they would put on like a Rabbi Buns event.
Rabbi Buns event, aye.
So maybe this time next year we'll see each other again, but you'll be fighting.
I want to fight one of them.
So the last time I spoke to you, you and your brother came in, and we done an interview each, and you were still amateur level. Now you're moving into pro. You're another signing with St Andrews. I spoke to Cassidy Todd a few days ago, she was the first female to sign for St Andrews. But there's a whole load of names. Like, you've got Jatvraw, Nathaniel Collins, Scott Allen.
I was sparring with Scott Allen no long ago. So it's great to see, because obviously they've got a lot of experience. They're professional fighters. It's good to have that type of level of fighters able to access that. I've no sparred with any of the other ones, but I'd really like to get sparring done with like Nathaniel Collins, Jack Turner, like Jatvraw, and that'd be brilliant.
So
hopefully I don't smash me.
Well, that's part you never back down for a fight. I know that.
I know.
But as we spoke last time, we said you've grown up in a boxing family. Your brother boxes during lockdown. I imagine used to. We're sparring. How's your brother doing? Is he?
Oh, Drew's doing brilliant, man. He's flying now. I'm not going to say it, but he's a wee bit taller than me now. I can't have that. But he's doing brilliant. He's hitting a lot harder. He's just, I see him working away all the time. He's getting fitter. He's doing brilliant, you know.
So your dad's going to be coaching you?
Aye.
But how did the transition to joining with St Andrews, how did that come about?
I was just waiting a bit for amateurs to come back when it was quite boring. Nothing was happening. There was no talking happening, and at the start, see when lockdown first happened, there was talk about fights might be happening in April, last year, and then they never came about. It's just you're sitting there training hard and nothing's coming for it. Because I ended up getting in the best shape of my life just before Christmas there, and I was flying, but for what? It's a bit pointless. So I've known Ian for a long time, and obviously my dad was signed with him, and I was speaking to him. He was like, "Do you want to turn pro when you're 17?" I was like, "Aye, I'll do that then, because nothing happening. So I'd rather get fights than wait a bit for ages for nothing."
So I suppose you just love to box, and as I said, coming from a background where I remember, what age were you when you first put on gloves? You were young.
I can't even remember.
So you've always been comfortable in boxing, and I suppose, like, with the lockdown and stuff, it's difficult for people because you've got like, it's something you love, and it's difficult to go on and perform, and you want to be in that atmosphere, and you just you're stuck. So but you're quite young. You're 17 years old. You're now going to be, as we said, some of the people that you mentioned, like Scott Allen, and that they are very experienced. Are you seeing yourself as being a contender with them, or you've still got a long way to go, or do you want to just hit the ground running? What's your plans?
Obviously, because I'm so young and that, I've still got time to develop. So I'd like to just take it slow at the start. Just get some fights in, just learn my trade basically. But I know that in the future, like 2-3 years time, I know that I can do some damage. Because I've seen a few comments on Twitter and that, where people saying, "Oh, he's a bit too young, this, that, the next thing." But people don't realise that I have been training extremely hard. I never slack in the gym. I'm always on top of my game. My dad actually had to tell me to calm down with the training a bit, because he said I was training too hard for nothing. But it's a bit, I'm not really sure on the word for it, but see that way these people are doubting me a wee bit, but they don't know that I can handle myself.
I think you're going to get that. What people won't realise is that, and I've this is the first time I'm saying it, but you've grown up in a boxing environment. So even though maybe you wouldn't have had fights, you've been training. You're still going to grow. I mean, the height you said you were 5'10".
Aye.
Boxing is fluid, and people will move into different weights, and you're at the age where you've got that passion and motivation. And as you said, it was the right step for you you as an individual. People that maybe haven't seen you fight, this is going to be a constant battle that you're going to have. All through your life, you're going to have these people like thinking they know better. It drives me up the wall sometimes watching some of these like people that I'm still learning about boxing, but not as a fighter, just as somebody from outside watching what goes on. But yet, a lot of we always like to talk about things like mental health, but there's people that will just constantly attack you. But the benefit for you as your dad is going to be in your corner. I know last time your mum's dropped you off a day, but your mum as well is somebody who is seen it in the past with your dad. How is she feeling about you moving out pro?
Well, I think it's a wee bit mixed emotions, isn't it? Because she's happy for me because this has been like a dream of mine since I was a wee boy. But I told her about the small gloves, the 8-ounce gloves, and she's a bit worried about that. But I knew what I was signing up for. I'm not oblivious to it, and I know that it's going to be like a hard game. Like I could get really injured, but I'm obviously going to train as hard as I can for that not to happen.
So, you get any idea when you're going to be having a fight? Or I know before you answer that, I know St Andrews come maybe November. They've got plans to put in a fight. I think before that it's maybe like going on with Corona. It's difficult for people that haven't already had fights to get. I've seen the same to Cassidy Todd. But do you have any idea? Would you like to fight in November?
I'd like to fight. Well, they were saying maybe a pure slim chance of summertime, but I can't really see that happening because of Corona. But hopefully September time, and then September onwards, hopefully get a few fights in.
Brilliant. What's your thoughts on how boxing is going on now? Like you mentioned there, obviously I film my background with JATV Raw was filming Olympic style amateur fights. That's been non-existent now for a year. And it's frustrating for me. Like I want to try and see if there is any way we can like put on shows, even if it's closed door. But what's your thoughts on that? Do you think, and maybe this is a question that I could probably answer myself, or probably know what you're going to say, but do you think maybe some sports are getting the opportunities to still carry on, like football and that?
Majorly.
Yet boxing is because you played football as well.
I played football when I was a bit younger.
So do you think there's been more of a focus on things like?
Because a lot of my pals play football, and they're good at football. Like my pals Aidan, Kieran, they're all they know how to play football, and they've had games since the lockdowns happened and that, and I've no fought in about a year, so it's a bit I don't know how they just couldn't have boxing shows on behind closed doors and that, or even just family members watching, everybody's socially distanced. So it's frustrating at times, but
I suppose there's more people going into it. Like you watch any football match and like somebody scores and they're all kissing and hugging and stuff.
I know.
Even last year the Champions League, they're all kissing the cup and stuff. You're like, it's frustrating because I know the effect it's having on boxing gyms, the wider community, young boxers, the coaches, their families. Like there's some coaches I've spoken to, they've not seen. Some guys that become regular and their gym, they've not seen them for nearly a year. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know if they've went off the rails. So do you think there's any worry like it's maybe going on too long? Or
I think see to be honest, I think this is going to go on for a long time. I think I'm not sure. I don't know what the script is, but I think it's going to go on for quite a while. I don't think that I don't think we'll ever be back to the way life used to be. I think we'll always have to wear masks and show up. So there'll always be a wee social distancing type vibe going about. So I can't see stuff getting back to 100%.
So you mentioned your mates there. How's your mates reacting? I know a lot of people have shared. I've seen the posts and the people wishing you well. But how's your mates reacting to you now?
When I first told them about it, they were all pure happy for us and that. It was brilliant. And I've been training with a few of them. My pal Reese, he's been trying really hard. He's used to do the Muay Thai and he's getting into boxing now. And he wants to do amateur fighting, but obviously it's a bit hard because it's all shut now. But Reese's been training with me. My other pal Reese in Denver, they've been training as well. I was going out runs with all my pals, as I previously mentioned, Aidan and Kieran. I've gone out 5Ks and all that with them. So just as much training as I can. All my pals are wanting to do it ways and that. So it's good having a wee supportive group about me. And my pal Liam, he's got he's made his own gym and all that. He spent been working hard, spent all his money on it, and I've been obviously gone there. He's been helping me with stuff. It's been class. I'm enjoying it. Like, just training.
It's maybe in that sense that, I mean, the whole lockdown and stuff, it's give people maybe a bit. There's two ways you can go. There's people that have sort of went in a worse situation. There's other people that have tried to.
A lot of people have been using it as an excuse. I've been see the stuff on like social media and that. Like I seen what's it called, TikTok, right? There's a trend going about, and it's like show yourself during lockdown and like before it and that, and it's like people have put on major amounts of weight, and they're all saying like, oh, it's fine, this body's took you through a global pandemic, you're alright to put 3 stone on, but then you see other people that have got absolutely ripped to shreds, brilliant shape. So I think it's quite like inspiring seeing people that are using it as an excuse to get fit instead of like putting on weight, and that's brilliant. I like seeing it.
So you yourself, last time it's no secret, like you said, when you were younger, you were a bit heavier.
Aye.
Basically, like I think there was a time you said you weren't making the weight to play football and stuff, and that just basically made you determined and passionate to lose weight. And so is keeping fit now part of your life? Is it like I know last time you came, it was really early. I think you came.
Aye.
Like, even the day, like I don't usually get up until late on a Sundays. I said I was hungover for that Robbie Burns celebration last night, but are you finding now a routine where you're getting up early, you're training, you're having to watch what you're eating and stuff like that?
I have been like calorie counting, like making sure you get the right amount of protein, carbohydrates, fats, like everything. Drew's been doing it ways like we track everything we don't let anything go astray. But obviously you need days off. Like, see, when I have a day off, man, I have a day off. I would just eat so much mince, man. It's unreal. But like every other day, like weeks on end, just doing like hundreds of training, just try to keep fit, try to learn as much as possible. And it's brilliant as well because I've got like my dad and me, Scott Allen around me. Like, it's great learning off these guys. It's brilliant.
So I was Scott. I messaged him a few weeks ago actually, and then the lockdown happened. But he was putting on the mental health class. He's doing a lot. He's actually raising money as well for Chris's house, where he's going to be doing, I think, the West Highland Way in 24 hours, which is crazy because I remember when I was young, I'd done part of the West Highland Way and I had like the rank shoes on and just like had the blisters on my feet, and I was young, and I'd never go back to that. Never mind trying it in 24 hours. But I know through speaking to Cash in the past that Scott is quite a character, and he was like, oh, it was Cash that suggested, "Go, listen, why don't you get him on and talk about what's going on?" So that's why I'd messaged him. But how do you find him? I know you're training in his gym. His brother's in that gym as well.
Aye, Sam.
So how are you finding them to sort of people that have, like, I mean, they've been through the steps as well as your dad, but they're maybe a bit closer at your age, and like how are you finding working with them?
Brilliant, man. Like, it's good to obviously get the sparring in with Scott and that, and seeing just watching him train. You see him train, he's like constantly going 100%. It's like it gives you a wee bit of incentive to go, right, I'm going to keep doing it. He's super fit, man. He's like I don't know, he's like an athlete, isn't he? Like, so he is an athlete.
So you're an athlete as well. It's, the thing with Scott is that he's like, obviously way back in the day when he was fighting Cash. I never even. I think I was up in Dundee. I was working up in Dundee, so I never seen the fights, but I seen the build up to the fights. And there's somebody that sort of creates media sort of publicity around the fight, which is always a good thing. But you're quite more relaxed. And I know like I've never met your dad, but I know the last time he was phoning your wee brother and winding him up saying, "Oh, I'm going to phone and say I've got a big fight for you and stuff." So your character's a bit different for your dad, but how do you want to be seen as a boxer? Do you want to be this sort of humble person that does I hate saying this, they're talking in the ring, but I find myself saying
I know what you mean.
But somebody that's seen as being quite humble and just, or do you want to be the type of person that if
quite you brash?
Like square up to people at the weigh-ins and that? Is
it stunts now? I just want to be myself, really, right? Which is I want to just show people that I'm mature. I'm no still a wee boy, as everybody thinks, and I can fight. But if somebody does start their pish, I will.
Well, your fate, the area. I mean, the last time we spoke, like, and I say this all the time. It doesn't mean not, but the area I'm afraid Drum Chapel was at times quite a tough area. But you grow up in that environment. But I mean, there's people I know that have been in fights, that have been victims of like stabbings, that have if I carried knives themselves and stuff. And I'd imagine that you've seen some shit in the past that so growing up in that environment and then kind of, I don't like saying escaping, but basically been better than
the
try to make it. Like try to make it. I don't want because I never like to put these.
I didn't know what you
like,
mean.
You're fair to an area where you've already seen
a
lot of shit in the past. So meeting somebody in a boxing ring is probably quite a clean way for you to engage in a fight rather than that'll put it that way. Rather than being out in the street on a Friday, Saturday night.
I know it's I just it's quite good to obviously be like professional athlete in this type of situation, because it just keeps your head clean and keeps you clean in general. You don't go out doing like stupid stuff and that, like drinking, smoking, like none of that. So it's good to just like, instead of my pal James was moaning at me the other days like, oh, do you want to go out and do something? Like, I can't, I'm training. He's like, oh, you're always training. Like, but it's good when you think about it, because if you're always training and can't get into any bother, can't get into any trouble, it's good.
Well, that's the thing. Like being a young guy, there is a lot of sacrifices you could probably already starting to notice. Like your diet will be different for your mates, or they'll maybe want to attend more parties and stuff like. And I've seen, and I actually quite respect, like a lot of my mates that have went into the boxing environment, and it's sort of taken them away from that. It's put them on a path where even if they weren't fighting, they're still living healthier, happier lives. Do you feel like you're losing it in that, or do you just think this is just another lifestyle for you?
I think I'm losing it because I've got a goal in mind. I want to obviously become great. I want to be up there with the best. So if that's like no going out and getting steaming, then I'm happy with that. I'm happy not to do that. Just a waste your time anyway.
So you're also going to be studying. So we were speaking that. What do you do? I'll let you say. You've applied for some unis.
I've applied for some universities for like physical education, like sports and coaching and that. And I've applied. Obviously, you need to like, apply for colleges and that as like a backup. So I applied for some of them for sports and coaching, like sports development. So just want to like become like a PE teacher or something in the future, just to like in case boxing doesn't turn it the way I want it to turn it.
Do you know it's weird? I just thought there, like I'm speaking to you, and it's like I'm speaking to somebody who's a lot. You said you want to be mature. There's a lot mature than. I'm trying to think back when I was 17. I was quite a mature 17-year-old. I used to manage at McDonald's in Clydebank, which was a headache, but it sort of learns you learn these life lessons for other people. So what has grounded you? What is that your mum and dad's upbringing, or is it just your mates? Is that a combination?
I think it's just I'm not sure. It's just I don't know. Like, ever since I was a wee guy, like I'd get slagged all the time because like the way I was just a wee fatty and that, and I used to make YouTube videos and stuff. Like I'd get slagged for it, and I don't know. I just kind of like I don't know how to explain. It's just kind of like now that I'm older and I look back and I'm like, right, just need to calm down a bit. So now I realise like, oh, what I'm doing, like I'm kind of more aware about like my full life, and the people I hang about with and that, they're all nice, they're all brilliant. I like, love all my pals, and just as well, it's just the training, the boxing especially, because see when you think about it, right, I see people all the time, man, they're like putting pictures up of like money and all that, and like they're pure trying to like show off. But you could go into a boxing gym, you could have 10 grand worth of like gear on, like all the best gloves, like everything, and a wee guy in with a pair of shoes with holes in them could school you. So it's just this humbling. It's like you can't be like going about, oh, I'm this, that, the next thing, because you'll know you could get mauled at any minute.
You see that a lot. Like there's a few gyms that posted pictures, and it's like you go into a boxing gym and you could have a doctor, a nurse, a criminal, a drug dealer, like a mom, like whatever you can, and it's kind of like there's less judgment, I think, in a boxing gym. As I said, like a lot of boxers have seen it all, done it all, and I think when you're in the ring and you're willing to basically get punched in the face and to throw, because you get punched before you can probably punch back. And I think that makes you more a humbling person. Not everybody. I mean, there is always going to be arseholes in the boxing world, but I think for a young age where you learn that, it's good for me to see young people grow up in that environment, and people like yourself, like you're quite a laid back, chilled out guy, which I already have an idea what it's going to be like when I see, because I've got mates that like that. The very outside the ring, very calm and laid back, and then inside the ring, it's like a different person. Has your mum seen you fight?
Aye, my mum's been to all my fights.
How did she find it?
You see, like, seeing you watch the videos back, like, see when you're in the ring, right, you don't like hear it. It's so weird. I can't explain it. I can only hear my dad shouting, right? It's like one voice. It's like one voice in the whole entire place. But then you watch the video back, man, you hear my mopio shouting that, you're like, just laughing at it.
Sometimes I go to events and like you've got grannies that they leave and they don't want to watch it. And I've always said this, like part of the reason why I started filming is because having to watch like my mate Ahmed or Cash, it was kind of like a barrier for me. So they'd be fighting in the ring, but I'd be like not really aware that they were fighting.
Because you're just what I get you.
And that's kind of how I used to. Just there's always something you worry about. I mean, at the end of the day, I've grown to learn that's their job, and you need to trust them at their job. I mean, they don't come to my shop and say, "Oh, Jimmy, you're not fixing that phone, right?" Or you're caught in the camera the wrong way. But it's sometimes you as you said, it's a dangerous sport. Like I think somebody said it was the most dangerous sport in the world. At a point where anything can happen. And then, do you ever have worries about that?
See, to be honest, I know what I'm not saying like, I know what I'm doing if I'm like, amazing, but I know what I'm getting into. I know that there is dangers to it, there is like downsides to it, but I'm willing to like engage in that. I'm willing to take the risk for it. I'm no. See, to be honest, this way I think, right. I think that this sounds like pure like as if I'm a mad Facebook or something, but you do only get one life, and it's pointless pure worrying about stuff like, I'm not going to do this because something bad might happen to me. Like, it's pointless being scared. I don't get like nervous, worried or scared. I think it's so pointless. It's better to just go out and do it because you're going to regret it if you don't.
So St Andrews, as I said, they've signed Cassidy to Jack Turner's now. There, they have got Cash Freak now fighting in Matchroom. You get Nathaniel Collins and Scott Allen. You also got Martin Hartkin. I've probably left somebody out, Gary Ray. All these boxers that are all amazing Scottish boxers. But what is your plans? Where do you? So obviously Cash is now moving, like he was British champion now, he's aiming higher. What is your plans, but what do you see? And I definitely already know it's Ian and St Andrews and your dad are going to get you there. But what is your end goal? Where do you want to be?
Obviously, like, in the future I'd like to be world champion, I'd like to be one of the greats, but as it stands now I just want to get the first few fights in, like, improve, get better, and then I'd like to just try and work my way up, like, as my dad said, earn my stripes, like Celtic title, Scottish title, then like Commonwealths and British. But the end goal is to obviously become like world champion. So
do you have like a thought? Do you have like, have you identified anybody that you think, that's my way? I'd kind of like that fight. I'm not asking you to call anybody out.
No, obviously I've seen. It's not me that identified it. It's my dad. He identified it. He's saying. I'm just going to say it. It's not what I call it, but see Campbell Hatton. Like, he's run a bit my weight, but he's obviously a bit older. But my dad's like, I can't see you two like taking separate paths. I just see it like going straight ahead. But obviously that will be in like a few years' time, and both of us are a bit more developed in that.
So do you put a lot of trust in your dad then, and being like, he's seen it all. As I said, he's done it all, and now he's sort of guiding you, and he's done well. I mean, you're 17 years old, just turned pro, signing for St Andrews. It's a great stable to be part of your training and sparring with people that have got amazing experience as well. You're getting a lot of support for your mom, your brother and stuff. So do you trust your dad to make the judgments and for you? And I suppose as well, like, I know you said people on social media were sort of, do you think there's going to be an assumption that, he's only getting this because of who his dad is, and you need to at some point maybe...
I'm going to I think, I'm not saying that now, but I've seen a few people that I saw like saying stuff about my dad and that, and like me like in together the same, like basically trying to correlate the two. But I know that as soon as I start fighting, like people want to know that I'm not just getting it because my dad. I'm not just, obviously my dad was a big influence in like Ian signing me, but I'm going to show that it's not just I'm this because of my dad. But a lot of it is because my dad's the one that's been training me in that, learn hunters from my dad's still. I think he wants to have another fight. I think he's going to do quite well because he's still amazing. It's like he fought at the highest level when he was in his prime, and to be honest, I don't think he's quite out his prime yet.
So did you ever see maybe you be in your dad's corner? I mean, there's the hang in with the boxing world. I mean, there's so much going on, and there's now that like these social media people that are sort of pushing fights and stuff like that. Do you see maybe your dad having another fight one day, and you in his corner, maybe you and your brother? If
I was in his corner, I'd be holding a wee spit bucket or something like that. I wouldn't be saying anything. But I think my dad, I think any my dad wants to fight is Martin Harton, and I reckon I think my dad's got it. See if my dad trains hard for it, I think he's winning it. My dad's his fit work. It's weird. It's like watching him. It's like he's no lost anything like, since he was like, in his prime, but he can lost a wee bit of the looks, but got a few wrinkles. But he's honestly, see if he was to like come back and fight again, I think he could beat really like high Scottish level fighters, British level fighters.
So I know that like, we talked about all the shite in social media, but you're always gonna have that. But there's a lot of people that will have a lot of love and respect for your dad. And as you said, he's a name that's known around the world. But what's it like? And I know we spoke about this before. But there's people when they've seen the people. But what's it like being Willie Limon's son? Like, did you ever get worried when he was in the ring? Did you ever see the cuts, the bruises and stuff?
I used to see when I was a bit younger. I used to like get a bit worried in that, but. No, I know. It's like the way you said it, like, oh, it's their job. They know what they're doing. It's that, and I know how good my dad is. So it's not as if like I worry or anything. But it's good. He's like, see, my dad. He's like one of my pals as well. He's like, we get a good laugh him and that. So it's just, oh no, see like one of his last fights. I tried to shout something because like, he was like, what was he doing? He wasn't throwing a double jab or something. I tried to shout it, and also I was a wee bit like trying to focus on my dad and that. I ended up shouting it. I just seemed like I appeared daft. Everybody looked at me, and I was like. Oh, should just shut up there, man. Shouldn't have said anything.
So do you, obviously, your because of your dad and the background with the boxing, you would have been around a lot of these big names. Mm-hmm. Is there anybody that stands out to be like you go to events? Cause I know you were speaking earlier about some of the fights, the Scottish fights you've been to, and you've seen some of these boxers fight. Is there anybody that you think, oh, this was a good person, it was nice to me, or this was somebody who I looked up to, or I always wanted to meet? Just all of you, just always grown up in that environment.
I've never been like, I don't know, see, like a fanboy. I've never been like, oh, I pure want to meet him, like, because I've met like see, like I've got like Anthony Crawley's phone number and all that. He actually messaged me before the Lomachenko fight. Like I wished him like good luck, and he got back to me like biggest fight of his life, and he actually got back to me like a few years before it. So it just shows the type of guy he is. He's great, and like do you know what I prefer? Let's see, like the big huge level fighters. I prefer like see the Scottish level fighters. I prefer like talking to all them because it's just like they're all like really sound. See like Craig McIntyre and that. I've spoke to Craig a few times. Get a laugh with Craig. Michael McGurk as well. I've known Michael since I was about 11 or something. Trained with him hundreds of times and get a laugh with him. So it's better to like talk to the more local ones and that are obviously really good, but they're basically like pure scheme boys. It's good to get a laugh at them.
I always find, like, as I said, even yourself, like, a lot of people are very down to earth, and I think that comes from boxing. I think like that being in that environment, as I said, you're in a boxing gym, and there's not a lot of judgment for people, and anybody can sort of go. It doesn't matter what weight you're. There's a lot of coaches that keep asking me to go, but just finding I posted that pictures that I was about to start the gym before the lockdown came back again. But definitely, like, if I'm going to be going to in holiday, and maybe not this year, next year, I'd definitely like go and like maybe lose some weight and stuff. But anybody that gets in a ring always gets my respect. Even I mean, I've seen young guys cry in the ring, and then see them going on to win fights later. So I always like know that like we spoke last time about maybe a fight that was it you, your brother, when you lost your first fight and then it sort of relaxed. You were a bit more relaxed.
No, it was Drew that he never lost his fight. It was he won a few fights in a row, and he was like something that like he won a couple of fights, was undefeated, and then he lost, and then he was like, oh, I don't need to worry about like, keeping that away anymore. It's off my chest.
Is there a pressure? Do you think there's a pressure on, like, when you go out? Obviously, you're going to want to win your fights, but is there a pressure that you think, oh, I need to win each one? Because there is quite a lot of pressure on boxers, like with the numbers and how many, like, if they have a 0 or a 1 or a loss or whatever on there. Do you feel that pressure, or do you just
I don't. As long as I know that I've got the ability to go out there and like show that I know what I'm doing, but it's not as if like I'm pure pressured to be like, oh, I need to win. But you do need to win, right? You need to win, right? But it's not as if I'm like if I lose, I'm going to like crumble. I'm no boxing or this mince. But I know what I need to do. I've not got any pressure on me. But
there is sometimes like, and you see it a lot in Olympic style boxing. I don't like to criticise them too much in case they don't let me film their shows. But Sometimes there's decisions that are kind of on the edge.
A bit wonky.
And it's a shame because like some people might take that to heart, or fans might take it to heart, but I think maybe now it's becoming like people don't mind, as you said, if you can go in the ring and you can do your stuff. People respect that, and sometimes it makes them want to egg you on and be a bit, especially if it was like it's an unfair decision. So I'm glad you said there's no too much, because you seem like the sort of person that just you have a genuine love for the sport, and I mean, you can support a football team and they're not going to win every game, and there's not that big a deal. You just move on to the next one. But listen, thanks for coming. Is there anybody you want to shout out to? I cut Cassidy Todd off last time and she was like, "Oh, I've got sponsors." Do you have sponsorship, or are you looking for sponsorship?
I've not got any sponsors now. I'm working on getting a few. I think there's a few lining up, but there's nobody quite yet.
Is there anybody you think, oh, I'd like to? Is there any companies that you want to sponsor you? You want to wear their brand that you?
I like Nike, Adidas,
JD Sports, Links,
everybody.
I mean, you're and I don't like to keep saying it because your age, as I said, you're very mature for a 17-year-old. So your age doesn't really mean that much. Your experience in boxing is already like for a very young age.
I think a couple of people are like no worried, but like I think I'm just going to like half-arse it, like as if I'm. But they'll see like when I come into fights, I'm like in majorly good shape. They'll see.
People always think they're experts. It doesn't matter what it is. If they announced you as playing Batman tomorrow in the next Batman film, people be like, no, he's not good enough. They've said the same about everybody that's played Batman, the Nether Wars, everybody that's played Joker, everybody there's always this negativity with people, and it's just like, do you know what? Just shut the fuck up and let the boy do what he wants to do. Like, there's a belief that I have that everybody should be engaged in promoting people, even people you don't know. And that's kind of the reason for this, is to try and help people just speak a bit more of film fights and get it out there and just create like a more environment where we're trying to support.
Say what they want to say,
but I do see it. I mean, it doesn't matter if you go look back at when Eddie Hearn releases Who's Fighting. There's so much shite on the this person's not good enough, and why would I pay money for that?
Do you know what annoys me about that? It's the fact that I know I've got respect for every boxer. They get up like myself, getting up early mornings, going out runs, and that's freezing cold, snowing, raining. You're putting in like you're dedicating your life to it, and there's people that are sitting about like in what they call it, armchair boxers or something like that.
Keyboard warriors.
All that stuff. Like, as if they know what they're doing. Like, oh, he should have done this. Or he should have done it. Why do you know that?
I know. And the other thing is when people start greeting about paying £20 or £25 to watch. Like, I've been to events, and I said this to Cassidy. I was like, you're going to have to you need to do the same, like warn your mates in advance. As you start to progress, they're going to be spending more money in the ticket sales, and maybe need to pay for hotels and that and travel. So the better you get, I've seen this with my mates like with Cash and Ahmed, is that as they get better, the ticket sales sometimes go up. So you don't mind paying it. You're paying for basically. They're training sometimes for months of the year. Especially during this time, there's no guarantee that fights go ahead. People might be training for months and months, and then the payday doesn't come because
something last minute just happens.
And you need to remember, this is somebody's life. This is sponsorship only takes people so far. It doesn't like pay for absolutely everything that goes on, and sometimes like boxers are losing. And so I always get the respect for the boxer, but people need to understand that paying £20-30, it is a lot of money to some people, but the sacrifice that the boxers are making, you need to respect that, and criticising anybody you see that gets in the ring is just beyond like comprehension for me. Like, because as I said, it doesn't matter if you're walking in the ring as a first amateur or you're going out as your last fight as a pro. Like, you're basically putting yourself in harm's way for yourself, but for entertainment and stuff, and you need to respect that. But listen, thanks so much for coming in.
Cheers for having me.
It'll definitely we'll speak again. Like I'm actually buzzing for you to fight and and see what you're doing. But hopefully maybe we'll do some backstage stuff. I've been speaking to
100%.
Some of the guys at St Andrews as well, and hopefully when the lockdown sort of eases, we will start looking at maybe filming in the gyms and training and stuff like that. It'd be good to sort of get that and see that side of you as well. But listen, we can't shake hands because we're not allowed to. But cheers for coming, and say thanks to your mum and your brother for waiting.
Cheers, mum. Cheers, Denny.